What if I told you that Ghana is about to shake the entire world at the United Nations?
Ghana has initiated the process to table a resolution at the UN General Assembly in March this year, seeking global recognition of the transatlantic slave trade as one of the gravest crimes against humanity.
And this is not just Ghana, but again with the backing from a global powerhouse like Luiz Inácio Lula de Silva, president of Brazil.
Nesse plenário, todo mundo tem experiência de que o seu país já foi saqueado em tudo que é ouro que tinha, em tudo que é prata que tinha, em tudo que é diamante que tinha.
And this is not just politics, because this is about history, justice, and a fight that could change global power forever. Because what is about to happen could force the world to finally confront one of the darkest chapters in human history, and that is slavery. And here's the real question: why is the whole world suddenly listening to Ghana now? In this video, I break it all down and give you the details.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Madam President, the slave trade must be recognized as the greatest crime against humanity. As the African champion on reparations, Ghana intends to introduce a motion in this August body to that effect. More than 12.5 million Africans were forcibly taken against their will and transported to create wealth for the powerful Western nations. We must demand reparations for the enslavement of our people and the colonization of our land that resulted in the theft of our natural resources, as well as the looting of artifacts and other items of cultural heritage that have yet to be returned in total.
President of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, is heading to the United Nations, not just for a speech, but to lead a global conversation on reparatory justice. Now, this is happening during the International Day of Remembrance of the victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade. And Ghana isn't just going alone. In fact, the African Union is backing this move strongly, and their goal is to officially declare the transatlantic slave trade as a crime against humanity and not push for global accountability.
Ghana has initiated the process to table a resolution at the UN General Assembly in March this year, seeking global recognition of the transatlantic slave trade as one of the gravest crimes against humanity. Let it be said that we transformed memory into policy, that we converted the grievances of our past into a collective strategy, and that we turned our history into sovereign action. Let us not defer justice. Let us not postpone dignity. Let us act, and let us act together. I thank you.
Ghana wishes to draw attention to the very consequential resolution which President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana will be tabling on the 25th of March. Which is just next week Wednesday, a few days from now. This is a resolution seeking to declare the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. For more than 300 years, Africans were treated as property, were tortured, humiliated, raped, and forced out of the continent, over 12.5 million of them, in the most dehumanizing and despicable circumstances. The world is yet to acknowledge this. Perpetrators are yet to apologize and have not compensated the victims. This is the time to demand reparatory justice, and this is the time to demand restitution.
Wait, here is where things get even more intense. Brazil, yes, Brazil has stepped in, and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has openly endorsed Ghana's push. And this is huge because Brazil was the largest destination of enslaved Africans during the transatlantic slave trade. So when Brazil speaks, the world listens.
Eu ouvi o representante de Moçambique falar nos minerais críticos e nas terras raras. aqui, nesse plenário, todo mundo tem experiência de que o seu país já foi saqueado em tudo que é ouro que tinha, em tudo que é prata que tinha, em tudo que é diamante que tinha, em tudo que é minério que tinha. Depois de levarem tudo que a gente tinha, agora eles querem ser dono dos minerais críticos e das terras raras que nós temos. Eu estou vendo a Bolívia ali, estou vendo o primeiro o chantelé da Bolívia. Ou seja, já levaram quase tudo da Bolívia. Agora que a Bolívia tem minerais críticos, é a chance da Bolívia, é a chance da África, é a chance da América Latina não aceitar ser apenas exportador de minerais para eles. Ou seja, quem quiser que venha se instalar e produzir no país para que a gente tenha a chance de desenvolver os nossos países. Nós já fomos colonizados, fizemos luta pela independência, já conquistamos democracia, já perdemos democracia. Agora nós estão querendo nos colonizar outra vez. Ou seja, nós não teremos chances agora que nós descobrimos que temos terras raras.
And so at the CELAC Africa Summit in Bogota, Lula made it clear that this is not just Africa's fight anymore. In fact, this is a global South movement.
Que descobrimos que temos minerais críticos. Agora que a gente pode aspirar e dar salto de qualidade na produção de combustíveis alternativos.
And what he said next is what is making Western nations uncomfortable. Lula didn't hold back. In fact, he basically said that the era of exploitation is over. Resources belong to the people and development must happen where resources come from. And across Africa and Latin America, this message is catching fire. Meanwhile, Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzoto-Ablakwa clarified something powerful, that this is not about money. It's about historical truth, moral justice, and global recognition.
Ghana wishes to draw attention to the very consequential resolution which President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana will be tabling on the 25th of March, which is just next week Wednesday, a few days from now. This is a resolution seeking to declare the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. For more than 300 years, Africans were treated as property, were tortured, humiliated, raped, and forced out of the continent, over 12.5 million of them, in the most dehumanizing and despicable circumstances. The world is yet to acknowledge this. Perpetrators are yet to apologize and have not compensated the victims. This is the time to demand reparatory justice, and this is the time to demand restitution.
That's why we in the Caribbean are deeply committed to the issue of reparation. It is not just about economic justice. It is not just about reversing the significant negative legacy of colonization and neo-colonization, and in some cases the imperialism that still continues. But it is first and foremost about our human dignity. So, Your Excellency, I can assure you that Grenada and all of CARICOM stand ready to support this resolution. We stand ready to continue the conversation and the fight for the acknowledgement that slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, is in fact perhaps the worst human crime that has been committed against humanity, and that we should recommit to ensure that it never happens again. And we can't do so if people are not prepared to accept that it is wrong. We can't do so if people are not prepared to accept that it is legally not acceptable, and that there should be universal commitment to ensuring that it never happens again. And so we gladly associate, adopt, and will with Ghana the proposed resolution, and we look forward to it passing unanimously and successfully at the United Nations.
Here is where everything could change forever. A vote is expected at the United Nations General Assembly, and if this passes, countries linked to the slave trade could be pressured to acknowledge responsibility, and global conversations on repatriations could intensify, and finally, the entire narrative of history could shift, and Ghana is positioning itself as the leading voice of Africa on global justice. But obviously, not everyone is going to agree with this, because this move could spark political tension, economic debate, global division between the West and global South. But one thing is clear, that the conversation has already started and it's not going anytime soon. So now I ask you, do you think the world is finally ready to face the truth, or is this going to divide nations even more? Drop your comment in the comment section and let me know what you think. It's a wrap for today.